Hi, so I'm Kelly Lewis. I'm a research fellow at Monash University, and in this project, I'm working in collaboration with Choice, and together we're exploring a variety of ads that promote financial products and services. So this research really responds to concerns that financially vulnerable cohorts are being targeted with financial ads, and that people may also be targeted or discriminated against on the basis of personal and protected characteristics. So our work has really been examining the different ways that people are targeted with particular types of financial advertisements and really interrogating the different types of products and services that people are or are not actually being served to consumers. So this includes exploring how ads are really served to observers on the basis of their postcode location. And we're doing this because we want to see if we can find discriminatory practices like digital redlining, for example, or predatory targeting to see if we can actually observe that within the data set. So just for a bit of policy background, in 2022, the United States Justice Department entered into an agreement with Meta to really resolve allegations that Meta's housing advertising system was discriminating against users on the basis of demographic characteristics, which are protected under civil rights law. So as per the terms of this agreement, Meta decided that it would indeed change its ad delivery system to ensure that ads are delivered to people in ways that more equitably reflect the eligible target audience as selected by the advertiser. Meta also said it would disable certain targeting options so that advertisers could no longer select like special kind of audiences on the basis of personal attributes, and that included race, age, and gender, as well as postcode. Now, it's important to note that these measures were initially deployed for the delivery of housing ads in the US, but the system has since been expanded to cover employment and credit ads across the US, Canada, and some parts of the EU as well. It's also important to note that Meta, in its policy definition, classifies housing, employment, and credits as a special category of ads. And that means they're subject to various types of targeting restrictions. So, for example, restrictions can be based on age, gender, or postcode. And that also means that some interests are limited or unavailable to advertisers that are based in the US or to advertisers that are targeting ads to audiences based in the US, Canada, again, or certain parts of Europe. Now, if we look to restrictions specifically here on location, we can see that advertisers can target ads by broad geographic radius, but they can't do that at specifically the postcode level. And we can see that target radius is applied differentially, and that depends on whether the location is in the US, Canada, or Europe. And it also means that advertisers can't actually exclude locations from ad targeting. Important to note here that while these measures have actually been implemented in the US, Canada, and parts of EU, they have not yet been extended to Australia, even though the technical capacity to do so exists. So with the data set that we're working with, there's two subsets. So one includes like a broader category of financial advertising. So that's everything from savings through to investments, for example. And then we have a more focused data set that's specifically labeled as credit ads. So they're things that relate to a credit offering or a consumer purchase. As Dan highlighted in the introduction, the data has gone through a rigorous process of statistical testing and resampling. So that means we've overcome the risk of any sample bias, and that means we can also have data that is representative to the Australian population. So in the next few slides, I'm going to present some preliminary findings that relate to the credit-only data set. So this is this slide specifically looking at buy now, pay later ads. So here we can see that the highest observation of the buy now, pay later ads are actually being served to people within the age group of 25 to 34. We also see that females are disproportionately targeted with buy now, pay later ads. And the highest observation of that ad category is being observed by people with an income bracket between 52 to 91,000. But a really concerning trend that we see is a proportion of people that are actually earning less than 21,000 who are still observing those ads. This is obviously a financially vulnerable group of people. And we see that the majority of buy now, pay later ads are being seen by people who are employed full-time, but we also see a significant proportion of observation by people that have an education level of year 12 or less. And some of the ongoing work that we're looking at the moment, I'll just go to the next slide, thank you, is looking at postcode distribution. So here we're looking at the ways, we're working with a geospatial demographer to look at the ways that ads are actually being distributed on a geographic basis to people. So we're using different visual mapping techniques, and this allows us to sort of see the way that different types and categories of ads are being served to different audience segments. And this includes mapping the distribution of those ads alongside very detailed demographic data. And this will enable us to really observe and get at a much more granular level whether those ads are actually being targeted to people and on kind of different aspects. For example, is that a predominantly white neighborhood or a predominantly high ethnic or minority area? Or is that a low or a high socioeconomic area? So obviously it helps us get at that kind of more predatory and discriminatory practices like redlining. So some of the implications that are obviously raised by this type of research is that we can see some forms of credit-related advertising that appears to target Australians on the basis of protected characteristics. We see that women, for example, are disproportionately targeted by buy now, pay later advertising, and yet we see men disproportionately targeted with credit card ads. We also see targeted advertising of particular and high risk credit products being targeted to vulnerable cohorts, which is obviously of great concern. And some of the policy recommendations we'll be putting forward will be to really advocate for the fact that Meta's changes to its ad delivery system and changes to its targeting restrictions that have been implemented in the US, Canada, and parts of Europe should obviously be extended to Australia as well. And we're going to be calling for more transparency and also accountability to really establish whether Meta's ad targeting practices are actually compliant with target market determination regulation that's actually set by the Australian Security and Investment Commission under its design and distribution obligations in the country. Thank you.